So I finally got a chance to check out the Until Dawn trailer. I think I understand what you mean now with the whole it doesn't really seem like the game.
Okay. Yeah, and what did you think?
Um my best understanding, or the best way to explain it, is that because Until Dawn is one of those games where you have to make choices all the time, is that it was someone's best way to interpret that into a movie, because
Okay.
it's this whole time loop thing.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right. Yeah, it
and,
looks like that's how they get through the night is they just have to survive. It's not necessarily about what's actually on the mountain with them.
yeah, I mean, it is to a degree. I watched the trailer, or with the trailer that I watched, you saw the the serial killer person, the one that ends up being the brother in a suit, just making fun of them.
Yeah.
And then there's definitely a shot where you see what is most likely meant to be a Wendigo. So it's like the elements of the story are there. Plus, they even got one of the actors from the game to presumably play a different role, but
Yes.
maybe it's a bit of a fan service thing. I'm not sure, but just with Sony's track record with movie, video game, and comic book adaptations, I'm like, I'm probably going to go see it and maybe love it anyway, just because I love the game so much. But I don't know so much about how good it's actually going to be.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I just hope because it looks like it is going to be quite different storyline wise that it's done well.
Same, and I was talking to my daughter about it, and she said that apparently every time the time loop happens, it's like a slightly different genre of horror. So that could be a nice, fun little spin on it.
Okay. Yeah, that could be interesting.
It just, yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't get bad vibes from it, but I didn't get good vibes either. I was just like, it's got potential, but it seems to be following the same general story, but it just seems to be how do we make the choices thing from the game happen, rather than just let's just tell a story and we'll just make our own thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, well, hopefully that is a good choice with what they're going for.
Yeah, I am 100% in agreement with that. Either way, I will see it, and the fact that they have only really just started announcing it, considering it's coming out in June or something, also makes me think maybe they know that there's not quite a good thing going on.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I didn't realize it was going to be that soon. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I checked it out. Because I'm always checking out to see what movies are coming out, especially because there's not that many good movies at the cinemas lately. It's pretty much
True.
kids' movies or horror movies.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Well,
But
we'll see how much they play it up then, leading up to it.
100%. Hopefully, some more good information comes out. But in that vein, I did end up going to see Wolfman the other day.
Okay, and how was that?
Well, it's almost like a tale of two movies, to be honest.
Okay.
The first half of the movie is 100% horror. Like I let me backtrack just for a second.
Okay.
The movie itself, good, decent, good, whatever. It's made by the same people who did The Invisible Man recently. Same director, I believe, as well, James Wan, or maybe it was Lee Winnell. No, Lee Winnell, I think, directed it. Who also did The Invisible Man. So it had a good credentials behind it, but it's, I don't know. I think, like I said, the best way to explain it is it's a tale of two movies. The first half being a full on sort of horror movie, it starts a bit 30 years in the past, and you're they're hunting for something, and you kind of see the wolf man, but you don't really know what you saw, and the dad's telling the kid this, that, and the other, and then it kind of just skips like 30 years later.
Okay.
And then like it turns out that the dad's been missing for a while, and he's just been officially declared dead. So he's got to go back to the house and like claim his belongings or something. So like you can already kind of see where it's going.
Yeah, okay. So yes, adult son goes to house where they were hunting when he was younger.
Correct, except I think he didn't realize that they were hunting like werewolves or whatever at the time. But
okay.
But like, so the first half of the movie, scary, what's going on, getting chased, blah blah blah. The first thing that I can criticize about it is that the werewolf from the start of the movie is kind of like never really mentioned again. Like, it's like, did he get killed? Did like, obviously well, it's not obvious. I'm spoiling it, obviously. The dad gets turned into the werewolf. Did he get turned into the werewolf by the thing that he was hunting? Blah 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 blah.
Okay.
They kind of just go over a whole bunch of stuff, and just kind of gets dropped. So then halfway through the movie-ish, the father of the movie, so it's like a father, mother, daughter, son, going to collect the dead dad's belongings or whatever.
Yeah.
He gets like scratched as he's protecting the family, whatever. So then it becomes more like of an action movie where it's like him as like a turning into a werewolf person fighting the werewolf.
Right, okay.
And like they could have made it kind of interesting. And it's not the worst thing in the world the way they do it, but it just ends so generically. Like
yeah, I was gonna say it just like it sounds like one of those storylines that's just been done so many times.
Well, that's kind of the thing. Is like it could have had something really interesting, and it sounds like they tried to make it interesting, but then kind of just missed the mark a little bit. Like, because like there's no traditional werewolf lore in it. Like they see the werewolf at the start of the movie in the middle of the daytime. There's no like, oh, it's a full moon, so he's turned into a werewolf. There's no like, oh, I killed the werewolf that turned me, so now I'm not a werewolf anymore. Like, there's none of that kind of stuff. So they could have done some interesting things with it, but the fact that they made it more actiony in the second half, as opposed to like for example, the father who gets turned, like the newest werewolf in the movie, still is kind of cognitive and like realizes like, hey, I got to protect my family, kind of thing.
Okay.
So they could have kept going down that line, and it turns out he stays a bit more cognitive or something like that. Or it could have turned into now they're getting hunted by both werewolves, and the two werewolves are fighting each other whilst also looking for the family or something like that. But instead, it just basically becomes, oh, I'm turning into a werewolf. I've got to kill the other werewolf that's killing us. And then I'm assuming you can guess what happens at the end.
Do they then have to kill him?
Not only do they have to kill him, but he kind of begs for it.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's kind of like, kill me, please. And then it's like, oh, he's finally fully turned. So they hesitate, and then bang, dead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it sounds pretty, what the word just completely slipped my mind. Predictable.
It was predictable-ish and a little bit generic, but like it just had so much that was like almost quite like a new enough spin on what was happening. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Invisible Man one, but it's like instead of instead of it being like, oh, he drank a serum or something like that, he's literally like a tech dude who's invented like a suit that makes it so that he's invisible.
Ah, see, that's cool, and it's more realistic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, he fakes his death at the beginning of the movie, or what he dies at the beginning of the movie, and then fakes his death. Whatever, I've already ruined it. And then, it's about the whole movie. The whole movie is basically about the chick trying to prove that she's not crazy and all these things are happening, and blah blah blah. And there is actually a decent twist in it as well that will that I won't give away because I've already given away too much about a movie. Actually, what am I talking about? We don't care about spoilers mostly on this thing, but I do try to not spoil stuff that we're not directly talking about, so I won't give away that. But the Wolfman, it's a wait for streaming movie, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay. And it sounds like that has no real substance or twists or anything in that. It's just fairly straightforward with the, evil creatures gotta die sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, like I said, it had potential, and the pedigree behind it, they just kind of went, yeah, it's almost like the studio was like, let's pull the trigger, but not all the way.
It sounds like I'm not, well, I say I'm not a massive horror fan, but I feel like you've started planting a seed for me that is changing that. But it sounds like they should have either just stuck with it being a full horror movie or a full action movie and not really trying to mush the two of them together.
Yeah, I mean, they could have gone kind of like Terminator style, where it's kind of like both at the same time the whole way through.
True.
But it literally starts off full horror, just full horror, and then the turn in the middle is just I don't know. Like I said, they could have pulled the trigger and done some really cool stuff, but they just didn't, and it just wasn't quite there, and disappointing. But still a movie worth seeing, but just wait for streaming, I reckon.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of movies, though, once we come back from the intro, I reckon you've seen a movie recently that, again, I suggested to you. I want to hear your thoughts on it. Let's talk about that in a second.
Let's do it.
Almost a jibble sandwich.
All right, now that we're back, how about you talk me up again about how good I am at suggesting horror movies to you, and tell me what movie it was. Tell me. I know what it was. Tell everyone listening what movie I suggested, and give me some of your thoughts, opinions, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so yes, you seem to be the master of movie suggestions at the moment. So I watched Nope the other day.
Fantastic. Yes. Lovely to hear. Want to hear more of it?
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was like a full-on horror. It was probably more of a thriller, but that's probably more my jam anyway. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the horror is not from like the gruesomeness and stuff. It's from like the dread, the fear of the unknown, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, which I definitely did feel that. And the first scene where you think you might be seeing an alien, holy fuck. Like, I had goosebumps and I was ready to turn the movie off. So...
Are you talking about the barn scene?
Yes. That was probably the worst scene for me, and that's not even a scene of like the actual alien or anything like that. That was
absolutely. Like I don't get scared much in horror movies in general. The alien movies are the things that tend to get me the most. But the movie itself, didn't make me feel scared most of the time, but I saw it at the movies, obviously, and like when that first little head pops around the corner, I was just like I audibly was like I think I actually was like, nope.
It's so fitting for the movie, actually.
Like
Yeah.
I was just, like I made some kind of audible noise, and that does not happen very often from me. Like
Just the way they shot it too, like the first alien you see there in the corner popping out, like it's not in focus, so you can't really see it that well, but you can hear it.
Oh, and the bit, I don't know if it's before or after, but no, it's definitely before, when he first turns around the corner because he's backing up when the alien. That's when the alien pops his head around. But like, you can kind of see it standing there, but you don't really know what it is. But then all of a sudden, it just starts moving, like it just like dips its head or something.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh, get fucked.
Yeah, like you see, that first one is like intense enough, and then he starts backing up, and then one just pops out from like another stall. Like, I was just like, nah. When he was like, nope, I'm like, yeah, mate.
yeah, I agree. and then, as Jordan Peele tends to do, adds the comedy to the scene. The last alien drops down, he punches it in the face. It turns out to be, just kids dressed up as fucking aliens.
I was like, you fucking deserve that.
Oh, they so did, but also I was like, man, that's like, great tension, great horror, but also great comedy all in one scene. Like,
yeah, done very well.
What did you expect when you were watching it, in the sense that, so obviously you knew it was some kind of an alien movie. I don't know if you'd seen much beforehand, but what did you like? What kind of alien or aliens or whatever did you expect to sort of see?
So I didn't really have any expectations of what the aliens would be or would look like, but I thought it would be just from, like little snippets from trailers and stuff that I'd caught, because I hadn't watched a full trailer actually. I thought it was going to be like a flying saucer that was just going around and like beaming people up kind of thing. And then there might be something happening on the spaceship that like might be where it's mainly set. So completely different to what I was expecting.
Yeah, you thought there was essentially going to be little men inside the ship or something like that.
Yeah.
So two things I love so much about the movie, but two things I love is the fact that it ends up being that the ship is the alien itself. Like, it's the thing that's sucking people up, eating them, whatever.
Yeah, and that was the first scene where you see that actually happen was so great.
I feel, is the first scene the one in the dark where it does the horse, or are you talking about the one at the ranch?
So I'm talking, mainly about the ranch, because I think that's the actual first scene where you see how people get sucked up and what happens when they go into the creature, pretty much.
Yeah, so that's my second, like, most favorite thing, is because once you know that and you see that scene, the intro to the movie makes so much more sense. Like the intro credits scene.
Oh, okay. I might have to go back and try and watch that at some point.
Yeah. So like when you're first watching it, you're just thinking, oh, it's just some kind of like artistical way to represent the start of the movie or whatever. And like it is, but then once you realize how the creature digests food, you're like, it's the Leonardo pointing at the screen meme, like, ah.
Yeah, okay. Oh man, yeah, now I'm gonna try and look that up later.
Yeah, you better, because it's I don't know, there's so many cool things. There's also a scene near the end, which you may not have picked up on because you're not an anime fan from memory, but there's a very famous scene in the anime Akira, and Jordan Peele specifically like copied that shot with when she's riding the motorbike at the end and like slides along.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I've nothing against anime. It's just not something I ever grew up with or started watching. So,
boy, oh
Yeah.
boy, do I have some recommendations for you. I used to be sort of similar of like, oh, it's not for me or whatever. But then I saw a couple of anime when I was probably too young to be seeing them that made me realize that like anime doesn't just have to be for kids, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like there are some really adult grown up concept animes out there. Akira being one, another one being called Perfect Blue. There's one it's called Wicked City, but it's got some other name in Japan that I can never remember.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Ninja Scroll, Ghost in the Shell. Like I could rattle off a whole bunch. Those are just some classics, but they're definitely like, you know, if animation's just for kids, then I don't know what kind of kids would be watching this animation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess the same could be said for gaming, really.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, that one, like when I saw the scene, like when I saw it happen in the movie, I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I wonder if, and then I did, like, as I do after I watch almost every movie, I start reading all the trivia and whatever I can about the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, he purposely did that. He's wanted to include that scene in a movie, but he didn't have like the right way to do it or something. And then he had the perfect opportunity. He was like, I'm pulling this off. I don't care how I do it. It's happening.
So is that when she's going for the well and she does the slide on the bike? Or
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Cool.
It's a very specific and very stylized sort of thing. Like, yeah, it's hard to really, like, I can't think of anything else where I could be like, yeah, it could have been that. You know, I could see how you can confuse it with that or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's like very, very specific.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's cool. I like little nods like that.
Yeah, same. And another nod to anime, because Jordan Peele apparently is a big anime fan,
Cool.
is the design of the alien itself at the end of the movie was actually based on the angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Ah, see, that's actually a show I have watched a couple of episodes of.
Yeah. So you can probably see some influence there. And when I was watching it again, I was thinking like, oh, this is very Neon Genesis. But I was like, it's probably just like a fancy design. And it was like, no, he was inspired from it. Like he didn't copy anything, obviously, but he just took the sort of way that they're designed and the otherworldliness of them, and was like, yeah, this is the way to go.
That is cool. I didn't know that. I was actually going to comment on the creature at the end, like what it sort of, how it changes its shape and turns into that whole big massive thing. And how pretty, like it's actually quite pretty.
Yeah, that's it. It's like a lot of predators in the wild as well, where it's like I'll use the deep sea fish that can never think of the anglerfish or whatever, where it's like, oh, nice, pretty light, and then all of a sudden you're dead. You know, it's a lot of predators in the wild have that kind of thing where it's like, oh, we've got something pretty on us that attracts you to us, and then we will get you.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Thank God for that big blown up dude in the end.
Man, like it was both cool but also hilarious to me, that part. Like I was like, of all the things that would defeat an alien or an alien creature or whatever, it's like, you know, obviously there's a lot of pressure inside that balloon, especially if it's being able to float that high, but still, holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
My second favorite comedic part is when the TMZ dude is riding his electric motorbike.
Yeah.
Just watching him eat shit was like, oh my God.
That was pretty hilarious. Yeah, that was great. Especially like, you know, after being such an asshole to Emerald when she's trying to warn him. He's like, no, fuck you. I'm going to ride down there anyway.
Yeah. Oh man. If you, like, I imagine if he was riding like a normal bike, it would have just cut up the electrics and slowed down like the car earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
Because everything's powered by electrics, it would have literally just stopped everything all at once, I imagine. Or maybe even because the electrics stopped, like it put on some kind of like an emergency brake. I don't know if us breaking it down is like making it seem like, oh, actually that shouldn't have happened. But either way, I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was great. And I was actually, I think we spoke about this the other day. I was glad that was it Angel, the tech dude?
I'm pretty sure his name's Angel, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that he didn't end up dying.
Yeah, so I think I also mentioned this to you that when you said it, was that he was originally meant to die, but he like lobbied for his character to not die. And
which is cool.
I think it was just like, you know, he, of all of them, he was one of the more innocent. Like, you know, OJ and the sister are trying to like get the footage for money. The director dude's like trying to exploit it as well, and he was just like, "Fuck, like he just wanted to see the actual aliens. Holy shit! Like, oh my god, you know what I mean?" So for him to die, almost to me would have felt like, you know, he just didn't deserve it.
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely fair.
I mean, you could argue because like he's still involved in trying to capture the footage, but and point of contention, did OJ die or not?
Okay, good question.
I go back and forth on it myself all the time. Like,
are you talking about when he's facing off the alien before he comes back at the end, or when are you talking about?
So when he comes, like, you know, the alien's dead. She's taken the photos with the thing. She looks up. OJ's sitting there on the horse. Is he actually there, or is it like her imagination? Yeah.
I did not even think of that. I just assumed that he was alive.
That was my first assumption. Like, you know, I just took.
Yeah.
Often when I watch movies, I take things at face value when I can, because otherwise I get too stuck into like trying to rip things apart or trying to find hidden meanings. But when I rewatched it, I was like, hang on a second, like.
Yeah, you don't actually like. You just sort of see his silhouette, don't you?
No, you see all of him, but like.
Okay.
But like, why out of everything is he the one that rides into like the path of destruction and not get killed? Out of everything else that's happened in the movie, why is it he? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, fair. Yeah.
I think there's definitely an argument to be made either way, and I don't know if Jordan Peele has come out. Like, I think he's kind of done the "it's whatever you want it to be" kind of thing. But
I was going to say maybe they made it like that for that reason, but yeah, I don't know. I just assumed when he popped up again that he did survive. I guess as well, like the horse, Lucky, that he was riding, managed to survive all of those events as well. So I thought maybe it was just them two together just had good luck. But
yeah, and like I would not be like, you're wrong. I definitely wanted to hear your take on it, because like I said, it's like, because at first I was like, oh yeah, he just survived and lucky he was riding Lucky and blah blah blah. But then, like, I started to think about it, and it was like, okay, like he literally rode into the path of destruction to give the sister time. They don't technically interact. She just kind of looks at him and just like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's no like running up and hugging each other, or he's like, they don't say anything. Because remember, there's that thing they say to each other during the movie, like from when they were kids or something. I can't remember it right now because I should have rewatched it, but I ended up not rewatching it.
I don't remember what they say, but I remember they do like the eye, like the point at the eye, like look at me kind of thing.
Yeah, there's something that they do, and I don't I don't even think he does that. It's just like he just kind of gives a nod or something. And just the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I think it's more her just acknowledging his sacrifice, and we did the thing that we intended on doing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely be thinking about that more now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look it up, like Google or something. Well, obviously Google. I mean, like interviews and stuff to see if he's given a definitive answer on that.
Okay.
But last time I looked, it was like a up to your interpretation kind of thing.
Do you know what I actually found more disturbing though than any scenes with the alien?
No, but I'll tell you what the most disturbing scene to me was.
What's that?
Was watching and listening to people getting sucked through the, like, I guess you would call it like the esophagus of the alien.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I was gonna say another scene, but then I just realized that has the alien as well. What you tell me?
The chimp scenes.
Yes, they are very, very disturbing.
Yeah.
And at first, I couldn't quite put together why they existed in the movie.
I was actually going to ask you that question because I've been trying to figure that out.
I'm pretty sure they're just literally there to show you that, like, no matter how tame you think a creature is, like, they're not, like, anything can happen. Like,
yeah, okay.
They've been filming this show with this chimp for like however long, and all it takes is a fucking
popped balloon.
He goes psycho. And I also think it was to give, because it doesn't show the whole scene all at once; it shows it throughout the movie. And I think it's also to give the character that Steven Yeun plays. Why am I so bad at remembering their actual names? But the cowboy ranch dude, the Asian, Walking Dead guy.
Yeah.
Give him this false belief because the monkey didn't attack him, so it's he's like, oh, I can control the alien.
I was thinking that too, yeah, because he seemed very confident about having the alien come in for food every day, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was like, I wonder if it's because like he thinks he has this ability to,
I don't know if it's that he thinks he has the ability, but I definitely thinks he has like a connection with it. He had the connection with the chimp, he felt.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I've got a connection with this alien because, they've been feeding him the horses and stuff all this time. So he's like, oh, it trusts me. I've tamed it to a degree.
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking that. But yeah, it's just like, I wonder if there is any more of a like a point to it rather than just sort of maybe a little bit more of a backstory to his character.
Other than what we've already said, I would say no. And
yeah, cool.
And the shoe like stumped me for ages.
Yeah, what did you come up with that?
Between what I think and what I've read, it's basically just to symbolize that, like, freak things can happen all the time. Like, just because you think you're in control or whatever, it's like, what are the odds that that thing happens and the shoe lands in such a way that it doesn't fall over and it's standing up? Like, I thought it was going to, as I was watching the movie the first time, I thought it was going to have something to do with like, oh, the alien was involved at that point and we just didn't know it yet. But
okay.
But I would say, yeah, it's just like, you get involved in some, like, as an example, when I was in high school, you know how you might jump on a trampoline and try and jump off and see how far off you can jump, so you can jump the furthest or whatever.
Yeah.
I was doing that one time with my friends and I did it. And the way that I happened to land or not land, the way I happened to sort of take off, my legs basically collapsed on me. I did like 2 360 flips in the air and then landed on my feet.
What?
I was just like, yeah, exactly. It was just like, what are the odds of that happening? And I believe that that's kind of what the shoe is meant to symbolize, is like,
okay,
it's like, I could have sat there and been like, oh man, I know how to do this, and try to do it again, and then broke my neck or something. But it was like literally just like, holy hell, what are the chances of me like basically slipping as I go to do a jump, flip however many times I did in the air, and actually just land on my feet perfect, like almost like a dismount from a gymnast. Like I was just kind of like crouched slightly on my feet, standing up, going, "What the fuck just happened?"
That's cool. Yeah, that is so random. Like, yeah.
It was one of the like scariest, but like thank God things that happened in my life. Like,
yeah.
The next being literally nearly being hit by lightning. That was.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I am very scared of lightning now because of it.
Fair.
I won't go too much into it because we've already talked enough about freak coincidences, and I'm sure it will come up again at some point.
Yeah, maybe we can talk more about, like random incidences and stuff one day that have happened to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you have any other takeaways from the movie? Any favorite scenes? Oh, the thing that I thought you were going to talk about that was going to be freaky was the scene where the alien literally is like, I guess you could say he's like showing off or whatever, but when he like eats all the people and then goes above the house and then like,
oh yeah, that was a pretty intense scene. But it, like you didn't know what was going to happen. They built the tension great, and having the blood running down the window and stuff, like it was all great. But yeah, that for some reason that wasn't the creepiest scene for me.
It wasn't the creepiest scene for me. Again, that's the ranch, the
barn,
the barn scene, but also the ranch, like when you see them all get sucked up like properly for the first time.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was definitely like a freaky scene, like just imagining myself being in that situation.
Oh,
and then,
yeah, I'd be pooping my pants.
And I think at that point they hadn't quite disclosed that there wasn't like that the alien was the ship was the creature. I think there was still a bit of like a
yeah.
So,
I think OJ figured that out, but he hadn't gone back to the house yet.
Yeah, and like I was expecting, like I don't know, creatures to come into the house or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, okay. See, I think by then I'd actually hadn't expected that to happen either. I was wondering if it was gonna like break a window or something and try and get in, but yeah, for me at that point I was like, all right, it's just one living thing.
I think the reason I thought it was because, like I said, when I was watching it the first time, I was just trying to take everything at face value.
Okay.
And even though certain things had probably alluded to it, I just thought, oh, it's just a fancy craft. You know what I mean? Like they can do like good fancy maneuvers and stuff. And because they hadn't, I don't think it was until after that scene and they're back in the town that he kind of says like, the creature, the ship is the alien or whatever, or however he says it to them.
I think maybe what sort of helped me figure that out before that scene as well was that OJ does actually question what it is once or twice before he actually sees it. Because I think at one point, when they're all still trying to be like, all right, what are we going to do to try and catch this thing in the act? They were sort of saying like, oh, it's a spaceship and stuff. And he was like, but what if it isn't a ship?
Yeah, so I definitely had that, like that hint or whatever as well. But I was still just kind of thinking like, oh, maybe it's a red herring or something, or maybe it's just him trying to throw us off, or again, just trying to take it at face value and go like, and was like, oh, maybe he's just trying to throw us off, and actually it's going to be this other thing, or. Yeah, I even had it in my head at one point that somehow the chimp was an alien, and it was going to be a bunch of alien chimps or something. Like, I just like when I'm really enjoying something, I just try to like turn my brain off and just let it play out. Because otherwise, if I don't, like, I just like end up sitting there going like, oh, this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen, and that's going to happen.
I do that too, and like, yeah, sometimes it's annoying because you do like you figure it all out before it even happens, and as the scenes start to come along, you're like, "Yep, see, that's what I said."
Yeah,
And you're
and
like, "Stop being
that's
a killjoy, Carly."
and that's what annoys me about some movies the most. Like, because some movies, no matter how much I turn my brain off, it's just too obvious what's going to happen, and you just sit there going, "Oh my god!" Like, the guy's going to do this, and then that person's going to come in. We didn't
Yeah,
see that person die, so they're going to come back at the end. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure some people figured it out straight away. And on my second watch, like, also, other than the fact that I already knew, on my second watch, like, I was like picking up on everything that was giving it away, as opposed to just kind of taking it in. So I was
Okay.
like, oh yeah, it makes so much sense now, because you see this here and you see that there, and it's like, the movement is like, yeah, there's no way that would just be a ship, even if it was a fancy alien ship or whatever. And
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't even think of that. See,
yeah, like
fair
when you
enough.
first see it move through the clouds and it's like super fast, I was like, yeah, okay, I get it now. Good work, Jordan Peele. Good work.
Yeah, I did like the parallels with like a wild animal too, of it being territorial, don't look it in the eye, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, lots of good metaphors. Ultimately, the movie is a metaphor for, like, he says it's his movie on spectacle, like people making, like, everything's got to be a spectacle these days. So it's like,
Cool.
rather than it's just being like, oh, we've got to run from the aliens because it's scary, it's like, how are we going to make money from it? How are we going to do, like,
Yeah,
everything
true.
that happens. Like, no one can just have something happen and be like, oh, it happened, and leave it alone. Everyone has to try and, like, claim it somehow.
Yeah, so true.
Have you seen Us and or Get Out?
No, I haven't seen either of those, I don't think.
Well, I
Are they
think
are they
if you
both
liked,
Jordan Peele?
yes, if you liked Nope, you'll like those two. I personally think Nope is the best. Others will say Get Out's the best, and it definitely was really great. Like, when it came out and it was the only movie he'd done, it was great. Us is the weakest of the three, in my opinion, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It's just, if you've got to rank them, and you're not going to just rank them all at the same level, for me it would go Nope, Get Out, then Us. But like, the line is so close. It's,
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, well, I think I have heard of Get Out, and I think I may have seen like a snippet of a trailer for that one. Is that like the boyfriend's going to visit his girlfriend's family or something like that?
yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
And not, I think it won an Oscar for screenplay or something at the time as well. Like,
Oh, okay.
it made a lot of waves at the time, a lot of social commentary and all that kind of stuff.
Ooh,
Us
cool.
is, like, people didn't like it quite as much at first, just because, like, after a movie as good as Get Out, having something being even like a little bit worse was kind of like, felt like it was way worse.
Okay.
But then, like, you watch it again, you're like, actually, this movie's good. It's just, it's telling a different story. It's got a different message. Like, like, if you even compare Get Out to Nope, it's like, they're two completely different movies, even though they're all three of them are horror movies. They're telling a different story.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, yeah, I will put them on the list, and I'll get to them eventually.
Damn straight you will.
I know you'll be asking me if I've watched them, so
I'm going to set up a automated message on my phone. So, like, every hour until you've watched them, it'll be like, have you watched them yet? Have you watched them yet?
Well, in saying that, how are you going with your movie every day goal?
How dare you?
Not well, then, I'm guessing.
How dare you throw that back in my face?
That's what you get.
I saw Wolfman, so we got that.
Cool.
I have downloaded it and like bookmarked a whole bunch of things because part of the problem is I've seen a lot of movies. So like we spoke about last week or last episode, it's like, where do I draw the line? Like, for example, Last Night in Soho, I could rewatch that, but I know I watched it within the last year or two. Does that still count?
Okay.
Do I just go for movies that I definitely haven't seen before? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's tough. And then like if you're gonna rewatch stuff, how old does it have to be?
Yeah, like there's definitely movies I've rewatched in the past that it's been so long that I'm watching it going, I don't even remember this scene. You know what I mean? So like that would definitely count. But
I guess like at the end of the day, if it's just like a goal of 365 movies for a year, I guess you can be as flexible as you need to be to make that happen, really.
I don't know. See, this is the ADHD perfectionism thing. It's like I can't just settle because I could easily just rewatch everything that I've watched recently that I know that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But like part of the reason I want to do it is because I want to like. So when I was in high school, back when Blockbuster was still a thing, they would have like, you'd have your overnight rentals or whatever, but they'd have like, rent 7 weekly movies for $20 or something like that. I can't remember what the exact deal was.
Okay.
And we got to a point where we'd rented like everything that was like definitely worth watching, that we just started like basically going from A to Z in the comedy section and just like renting everything just and giving it a go. And like, some of them would be bloody stinkers, but then sometimes you'd come across things like, oh, that was actually, we didn't expect that at all.
Okay. So if are you sort of saying that like you'd like to watch more movies that you haven't seen just to sort of, go through that again, where you're trying things that you wouldn't normally watch?
A mixture of that plus movies that I haven't seen in a long time to sort of see if they hold up / like some movies it's been so long since I've seen them that I definitely don't even remember half the movie. Like,
yeah, okay.
Like, I can't even think of the last time I watched Interview with the Vampire, even though I've probably seen it like 200 times, like legit. I probably haven't watched it in like 10 years.
Okay. Well, yeah, I feel like that could go on the list for sure.
Oh, it's going on the list, all right. Don't you worry about that.
That needs to go on my list as well, because I haven't actually seen it, so...
The more we talk, the more I just get so disappointed in you as a person.
Feeling a little bit of tension there, Dragon.
Hey, you attack me, I'm going to attack you.
Yeah, that's one thing. I've always wanted to watch it. I've just never actually gotten around to it. So yeah, I need to do that.
I would say, in terms of like acting quality, like if you aren't a fan of Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt in their like ability to act, like as in like when you go to watch someone like Daniel Day-Lewis, like you expect like this really good level of acting, where like Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise is like, oh, it's going to be a good action movie, it might be funny, well, whatever. I feel like Interview with the Vampire is probably the movie where like their actual acting is the best it's ever been.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, like I wouldn't say agree with some of Tom Cruise's personal life choices, but he is a good actor. Same with Brad Pitt. So yeah, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I can't speak for every single movie. I haven't seen every single Tom Cruise and every single Brad Pitt movie, but I've seen enough to know that, up to a certain point, they basically just, when you watch a Brad Pitt movie, it's a Brad Pitt movie, and when you watch a Tom Cruise movie, it's a Tom Cruise movie. Yeah,
okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, and it's like it's not that typical for them.
Yeah, no, like it's like they're actually doing acting, and they're doing like a style of acting that like is not usual for them. Plus, it's actually really good. And if you've read the book, it's one of the closest adaptations I've ever seen. It just cuts out one section from the book that I think the series has, but I can see why they cut it out from the movie because, like, it's long enough as it is,
Okay.
and the scene, like the section they cut out, doesn't really add to the story. It's just kind of like filler between when they leave America and when they arrive in Paris.
Okay. All right. Yes. Well, that is on the list.
Goddamn, yes, it is. Now, considering the name of the episode, I think we've talked a lot about movies and not enough about the main topic. But also, let's be real here. When I name these episodes, I really just try and find the best pun.
Yeah, that's right.
And I really felt like calling the episode just Spud wouldn't really ascertain what we would be actually talking about. I would literally have to do like Spud in brackets Nope or something like that. So why don't you give me some of your thoughts? Because I did actually play it a little bit before you got to play it. So I've got, I was able to give you initial insight into the game. But Generation Zero, it's an oldish game. Came out in 2019, I believe, but we played it together recently. How did you think? How did you feel? What did you think? I think that's how you say it.
Look, pleasantly surprised. It was, for what we picked it up for, like how cheap it was at the time. Definitely a lot more to the game than what I thought there would be. Like, I thought it was going to be more of a, just loot and shoot sort of thing. But it's actually got, a storyline that you have to follow along with. And, you've got NPCs that want to help you and you get to interact with, I guess one NPC so far. But, no, it's good.
No, I agree. When I picked it up, I expected it to basically just be like Return to Moria, except you're fighting robots or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And that there would have been nothing wrong with that, but the fact that it's like, more of like it's still a little bit of crafting because you can craft like ammo and like a companion or something like that. But the focus is more on exploring, finding survivors, and like, as far as we can tell so far, because we're not that far through the game at all. I know, just trying to figure out where the robots came from and how to end this like war that's going on. And if I remember correctly, in the intro movie, it mentions that like this war has happened before and it's happening again or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it goes through this whole thing that like, they went through like World War III or something like that, and then after that, the government then decided that everyone should be trained for combat. And then, pretty much, it's not just the military; it's everyone that lives in the country that gets trained up. And then, I think we then, as the main character, you're then just a citizen that goes out for a trip, and you come back and everything's gone to shit. So you got to figure out what's going on. But yeah, it looks like there's another war that's broken out, but this time, you've got robotic enemies around the place.
Yeah, it seems very cool, and I did a little bit of reading about like sort of end game content or whatever, and it does seem like you can like build up a base area. Like, you don't do the crafting of it, but you can like get supplies for it or something, and like, once you finish like the main story, like sometimes the base will get attacked and stuff, and you'll have to defend it, etc.
Okay.
It reminds me, the way it was spoken about reminds me of like State of Decay, where like you don't technically do base building, but you go out and get supplies and then go back to the base and be like, okay, I want this area to be like a bed area and this area to be like a meal area.
Okay.
But you're not actually like, building walls and stuff. Like, the plot's already there. You just tell it what it's going to be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But also, like we said, we're not very far into the game, so it could be like halfway through the game, more crafting elements come into it or something.
Yeah, true.
And I do like the fact that for multiplayer especially, like there's sort of 4 skill trees, so you can kind of like, if you're playing with 4 people especially, everyone can kind of like one person's basically the tank, one person's the healer, one person's like the get information person, and
Yeah.
another, I can't remember what the 4th one was, but like everyone has like a specific role. Like if you do the support role, you can normally only heal yourself, but the support role, you can actually use healing packs on your allies as well, and you can heal for more damage at a time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think the 4th one was survival, from what I remember.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was about getting like, I think it was like getting more loot and stuff from crates and things like that.
Yeah, true.
And then once you get to the end of a skill tree, you have like a specialization. I can't think of many of them. I just know that one of them. I just remember rather that one of them is like the so when you get down, it's like a lot of other games where you get down and you've got a certain amount of time for your friend to come pick you up. And once per encounter with one of the specializations, you can revive yourself.
Oh, nice.
That's one thing that I kind of liked as well, because like every time you encounter enemies, it counts as like it's not just like when you're running through like say Call of Duty or something, it's like just constant enemies, blah blah blah. It's like you run into something, it's an encounter. Once you finish the encounter, then you get all your experience and stuff, and then it becomes like, you know, exploration mode again, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. That's cool.
And I believe because it's made by a Swedish studio, it's set in Sweden. I believe that the islands and stuff that the map is on, like, are actual place in Sweden that you can visit in real life. Like I think there's pictures of like the developers being like, "Here's the bridge from the game. Here's the building from the game."
Oh, cool. I'll actually have to look that up. I meant to check the maps, actually. I totally forgot about that.
I don't know if it's like one for one the same, but like there's definitely like the islands are apparently real, and there's definitely landmarks that are there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm guessing like, some of the little areas that we start off in might not be exact, but yeah, like maybe some major landmarks they've kept the same.
Yeah, and that would be really cool if it is. And
Yeah.
like it's definitely like I said to you the other day, because like, you know, I'm also playing through it on the PS5, just because, you know, I'm a trophy whore like that. But I'm playing it through on like the easiest difficulty, just because there's no difficulty trophy, so I'm just like exploring like everything, and I'm happy for us to just be playing through and like, you know, just doing the story and getting to the end and not like having to explore every single little bit of the map.
Yeah, cool.
But I like the fact that if you want to, you can, but also, you know, like Return to Moria is good and it has a story, but there's a lot of like needing to backtrack and stuff because of, you know, you need certain minerals and things. And there's nothing wrong with that. It does it better than other games, but it's cool that you don't have to. Like, you can literally just be like, yeah, I'm just going to move on to the next story mission or whatever. You know,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's sort of like, you sort of pick if it's just going to be you just sticking with story, or if you want to explore, do some other stuff, or whatever you want to make of it.
100%. And like the first area that we spawn at, it's like, let's just say from that area you can choose to go left or right or whatever. Like, it's not quite how it is, but let's just say that. And you go left to go to the story. Like, there's a huge area to the right that, you know, maybe it brings us back there later in the story, but like, rather than going left, we could have just gone right and started exploring. See, oh, what's up this road over here, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, okay. I did actually even notice, like when we were playing the other night, that there was a section of road that we didn't even go down or sort of check out. We just sort of kept going the way we needed to. Which I don't even know where that went, if it looped back around or not. I forgot to have a look. But which is fine. Like I'm happy to play as we are. So
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably start off just doing like all story, but then like we'll probably just be enjoying it so much that we'll do like everything probably.
True.
It's just it's like. So, like, it's a little bit easier for me because I know I've got a bit more free time than you. So, like, when we're not playing games together, I can either choose to play my own solo game of the same games or play other games. But if we're playing games together, if we're swapping too much, we never end up finishing anything. Like we still haven't finished Borderlands 3, and I'm pretty sure we're pretty close to finishing it.
Yeah, that's true.
We never actually have finished it, even though we played heaps of it.
Valheim, like we've never.
Yeah, we've never gotten past. I think the
dragon,
the dragon boss. Yeah,
yeah.
There was another game that I was just thinking of as well. What was it? Baldur's Gate 3. Jesus.
Yeah, true. Fuck, how many times have we started that game? Honestly,
too many times. I can tell you that. And like, it's very frustrating to me, especially because I love the game so much. Played number 1 and 2 back when they came out and all that stuff, but I just still haven't finished number 3. I mean, to be fair, there is lots of game of it, but but still, like the fact that I haven't finished one playthrough yet, I'm very disappointed in myself.
Be prepared too, because I don't think you've gotten past Act 2 yet.
No, I have not.
Act 3 is like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like as big as 1 and 2 put together.
That wouldn't surprise me because that's pretty much how the other two games. Well, at least the first one. Anyway, it's like you play through the whole game, and then once you actually get to Baldur's Gate, it's like there's so much more to explore and do. But, anyway, either way, I haven't finished it. I want to. I will get it done. But being the trophy whore I am, who knows when? I mean, as it stands at the moment, I'm currently trying to do the Shadow Man remastered plat, the LA Noir plat, and the Horizon Zero Dawn remastered plat.
Okay. Yeah, so you got a few on the go.
Yeah. Shadow Man shouldn't be too hard. I just screwed it up because I didn't realize there was an achievement for finishing the game without dying, and there's like a quick load, quick save thing, so like you can just like quick save before you do something hard. If you die, reload, whatever. But I was already like so far through the game before I realized the trophy existed, and I already died a bunch of times. So I'm just gonna have to do like 100% playthrough and then just like do a speed run the second time through.
Okay.
LA Noir might be tricky. Not tricky, but like there's a lot of collectibles apparently. So it'd be a little bit of grinding, but apparently not too hard. Of all the Rockstar games, definitely one of the easiest ones. And Horizon Zero Dawn, I've already platinumed. It's easy. It's a fun game. It's just there's a remastered version for PS5. So I was like, fuck it, I'll do it again. If I enjoy a game enough, and there's like a PS4 and PS5 version, I will do it again. Like I've done Manhunter, Spider-Man Miles Morales, The Walking Dead. I'm pretty sure I did the first season on PS3, and then I did it again on PS4, and then I'll do it again when I play the Ultimate Collection, which is all of the seasons in one game.
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
It's cool and it's a fun game, but yeah, that's just nerdy, hoary, however you want to call it. That's how I go with my like. If Nintendo ever gets achievements, I'm done for. You'll never see me again.
Yeah, I could believe that. I remember what happened when was it Final Fantasy VII remastered that came out last year?
Yeah, Rebirth.
Rebirth, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was like, bye, Dragon. We'll see you in like a month's time.
I think it did take me roughly a month because I played through it, finished it, and then I was like, I'm going to start again. And then I got like halfway through it, and then I was like, oh, I should be social again, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's another game that I'm going to go back to work on the platinum. And then I've got the Yakuza series, but thank God I'm not a complete idiot with those ones. At the moment, I'm just trying to finish the games because I've already put in like 200 plus hours to Yakuza 0, and I'm only like 50% of the way through the trophies.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to just finish them all, and then I'll like go back to them one by one and have them as like a filler game or something, like like a palate cleanser, so to speak. It's like, oh, I've played a bunch of Lego games in a row, so I'll play some Yakuza, work on it a little bit, and then go back and play another game, etc.
Yeah, just sort of work your way around them, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not looking forward to. Well, I'm always looking forward to it, but the Generation Zero Platinum seems pretty straightforward. Just finish the game, get all the collectibles, craft a bunch of things, kill certain types of enemies. There doesn't seem to be any achievements that are like kill 400 enemies with one headshot to a whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing too crazy like that.
That's good.
There's been a couple of games that have pretty much anything that has anything too much multiplayer, or anything where it's like too skill based, as in like I'll never platinum like say a Dark Souls type of game. I just don't have the patience for it.
Okay.
I'm like, I might play it. I might even eventually finish one day. But
I was going to say, have you played any of them?
I have played Demon Souls, the original.
Okay.
And I didn't get past the first level.
Okay.
And that is mostly just down to my patience, because like you have to learn patterns, and like I keep getting a bit further, and then like one time I was like, oh, the ending's there, and I was like, I'll just quickly see what's down this pathway here, and it ended up being like a secret boss that you don't have to fight, and I died to it, and then I was like, after 2 or 3 hours, I was just like, yeah, this game's not for me right now.
I've heard so many people say like how frustrating and rage-inducing that those games can be. So yeah,
it's one of those things. Like, I've got a friend who just kills it at those games.
Okay.
He's done Bloodborne, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and Dark Souls, and he's done all of them, and he's platinumed most of them. He just has the patience or whatever.
Yeah,
but
right.
I just cannot sit. I cannot sit there, like even like, say for example, I like playing Street Fighter, and I learn a lot of combos and counters, and like I wouldn't say I'm a competitive player, but like I can hold my own at a middling level. You know what I mean? Like, I'd never enter a competition and try and win, but if I'm playing against friends who kind of know what they're doing, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good. And even that takes too much of my patience, because it's like learning the combos, learning the counters to combos, like learning the frames of like, what hit will do what when they're blocking this way. Like,
oh man,
yeah, it's a lot of effort.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, like, thinking back to like when we were kids, and you'd actually put in that time, like say like the old Mortal Kombat games. You'd learn all the combos for your favorite characters, and like other games, didn't matter how long it took to get to finish a boss. It'd take hours, and you'd stick it out till you finally finish the game.
To be fair though, back then, like, we didn't have like game passes and stuff, and we usually only owned about 2 or 3 games, so it was like you either played those games and learned how to beat them, or you played nothing.
Yeah, that's so true.
But still, like, I know there are games that are a bit harder that I will focus on and learn, and then there's like Soulsborne style games. Like, I want to be good at them. I just with the amount of games that I play or enjoy playing or want to play, however you want to put it, like I can't envision myself spending 6 months on just that one game to finish it, because that's like it'll legit take me that long probably. Like
Okay.
even Yakuza 0, like I finished the story, it was sweet, and then I was like, okay, I'll start working all the achievements, and there's so many mini games and stuff. Like I got a few months in, and I'm just like, screw it, I'm going to move on to something else. The worst part for Yakuza, in my opinion, is they have a lot of like traditional Japanese games like mahjong and shogi and stuff.
Oh,
That
nice.
yeah, it's nice if you know how to play the games, because this isn't the mahjong you used to play on Windows where you would just click the two things. This is proper mahjong. Like,
yeah, actually, I remember you complaining about mahjong now, and I was like being like, "Oh, I fucking love that game." And you're like, "No, not that version." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
if it was that version, it would be fine.
Yeah.
It's just, as a Westerner, I guess, someone who hasn't grown up playing it at all, I have no idea what I'm doing. And, like, I'm going to have to sit down and literally watch tutorials and stuff on how to play the game to be able to just get these, like, like you don't even get a trophy necessarily for beating them. But you have to, like, get all the achievements in the mini games list. Like, it'll be like, oh, win $10,000 in playing betting on mahjong. And
okay.
you have to like do all of that just to get the one trophy. And it's like, the one thing keeping me from getting some of the trophies is just those games that I don't know how to play.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's just a matter of actually putting in the time to look them up and actually get good.
Basically, and I'll probably get there, but boy, I don't know when.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thank you, I think. Have you got any games coming up for yourself? Have you got anything that's on other than our Return to Moria and Generation Zero? Anything that you've kind of seen or had your eye on that you're like, oh, I'm really keen to play this game?
Yeah, look, so BioShock Remastered, I've got it. I just need to install it and actually start it.
Fantastic game. Are you saying you've never played it before?
Never played it before.
You are in for a treat, my friend. It is
awesome.
It's I don't know. I don't know about the way it handles these days. Like, it definitely doesn't handle bad, but it's like, like when you go back to older games and it's just like, oh, this feels weird because newer games are just so much more smoother and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's a little bit on the, like, feels a little sluggish side.
Okay.
But other than that, like, the story's great, the atmosphere is great. Like, it's kind of a horror game, but it's also an action game. And like, that trope in games now where it's like, as you're running through, you'll pick up like a cassette or something, and it'll play like a bit of story like for you, like in Generation Zero when we come across like the answering machines, and they're like, oh hey, we just came from Anita's house and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What BioShock basically probably didn't invent it, but definitely popularized it.
Okay.
Like, once BioShock came out and used it as like sort of a way to tell the backstory of the world, because whether you know or not, like, you get down there and there's like no one down there anymore. Like, it used to be a thriving city, and now there's, it's in ruins. So you only really learn about the backstory of the place by the I forget what they call them, diaries or something, that are lying around it, and it'll talk about like, oh, hey, old mate was at the shop today and he was asking for this weird thing, and like, it really helps build out the lore of the game.
Okay. All right, cool.
I could definitely think in my mind's eye of other games that do it, but earlier games that did it, but once BioShock came out, it became like a much more popular thing for games to do.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
And you better record it because
Yeah, like we were talking about that. I think I will. And then, that's something that we could look at, putting online as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll probably start with something sort of simple-ish myself as well. Like, I think I keep talking about StarCraft, playing like the original StarCraft and just playing a mission at a time because it's just a bit easier to break up like that. Or a game like, Bioshock's kind of easy because it kind of gets sorted into levels. Like, it's not like level 1, level 2, but like you'll get to a certain point and it's like a very clear like stopping point that you can be like, okay, I'll stop the recording here, maybe take a break and then move on to the next one. Dead Space is a similar game like that, where when you're playing like an open world game, it's like, do you just do a mission and don't really record the in-between parts, or do you just record yourself for an hour or two and then, you know what I mean? Like there's less of a defining point for it.
Fair. Okay.
So that's why I reckon it's a good game to start on. Same with StarCraft, because it's literally like like some missions might take 10 minutes, some missions might take 40 minutes plus, but at least there's like a start and an end. There's no like, oh, when do I stop? Like, do I just stop now because I'm bored, or
like, oh shit, I've been playing for like 5 hours. I should probably stop now and edit that.
Exactly. So, and then hopefully, because I started looking back into my Twitch account and everything today, whenever it was. So I'll probably do a lot of my like working on platinums on stream again.
Nice. It'll be good to see you streaming again.
Yeah, you say that now.
I was like your OG fan.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you were still subscribed to me when I stopped for a while, because I remembered I hadn't streamed for a little bit, and then I got a payout, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's like just pretty much me, like still investing in your streaming, even though you're not doing much with it at the moment.
Well, it's definitely coming back. It's just going to be a matter of when, like we've been focusing on being consistent with the podcast. So, that's taken precedent, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, and look, that's not the worst thing. Like, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but it'll be good to see you getting into other stuff like streaming again. It'll be cool.
I guess I just meant unfortunately in the sense that like I could be doing both, but right now, like just all my mental energies on this, and that's a good thing. But yeah, like I sit at home and play games anyway. Why not be streaming as well? Oh, that's right, because my brain goes, that's too hard.
Nothing wrong with like doing one sort of thing at a time. So like we started, doing this, and you can maybe start streaming at some point, and then
that's the plan. And we can bring back our multiplayer Fridays, and I have a little. I
do miss that.
Same. We haven't even been doing it like off stream as often as we used to.
I sort of went through nearly like a what's it called? I can't actually think of the word, but we sort of went from like you guys streaming and like us all gaming together all the time. Then it was like no streaming, but we were still all gaming, and then we just suddenly went like, all right, no one's actually playing together at the moment. Withdrawals. That's what I was looking for.
I was thinking that, but I was like, oh, does she really mean withdrawals, or has she got something else that I'm not thinking of? But no, I have the same kind of thing, and that's why I'm glad that we've been getting back into some games ourselves. Like, not everyone's been joining us all the time, but
I feel like we'll sort of, we'll keep gaming, and then everyone will sort of jump back on board, I feel, eventually.
I hope so. Except for probably Dozer. We seem to have lost him.
Oh, man, he's been MIA. Like, fully MIA. which I can't blame him.
I can't blame him
good for
either,
him.
but I'm hoping once work goes back for him that he rejoins the world of the living for a while.
Maybe
if you're
regain some
listening, Doze,
sustenance as well.
exactly. If you're listening, Doze, we miss you. We just want you back.
We do miss you.
I reckon that is a pretty good place to leave it, though. You know, we've been talking about some good movies. We mentioned a not so great movie, Generation Zero. I definitely recommend it if you're into those kind of open world style. What would you call it? Like a action, kind of like an action looter, maybe.
Yeah, but like, that's actually story driven.
Yeah, like it's not like a looter shooter like Borderlands. It's more like you get the loot so you can craft like more specific, like for example, like corrosive ammo and stuff like that to help you fight the robots better. Almost like Horizon Zero Dawn, except not set like 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, cool. Well, I can't think of any better way to end it other than to just say goodbye. I've already waffled on a little bit here at the end, trying to think of that. my brain has literally fried, I think, in terms of trying to actually think of an interesting thing to say. So, yeah, come back next episode. Honestly, not sure what we're going to be talking about yet. I've got a few ideas. And yeah, have a great week, and we will see you on the Dirty Taters podcast again.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Perfect.